Ha ha ha!
Oh man.
Yeah, it's one of those days, y'all. One of those days.
If this ain't a Monday, I don't know what is.
Yes. Collective sigh, y'all. Collective sigh. Pops coming in. Everything is right with Pops being first. Good morning, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, and the First Guy fam. Time to make it do what it do. Oh yeah, it's doing what it does, Pops. Already, man. Already. Just
You have no
giving y'all,
idea.
man. Just giving y'all heads up. Today will not be a regular show. Usually have our flow down pretty smooth, but as the saying goes, you plan and God laughs.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, y'all can hear our voices. It's gonna go down. I mean, Monday, March 7th, 2022. It's definitely a Monday.
Oh yeah, and we're definitely live.
We're definitely live. So we might as well go ahead and just kind of maybe just go ahead and jump into what the issues are here real quick, and
will you? They can't see you, but they can hear you. Would you kind of like to break down your?
Hear you. You got to turn yourself up now.
Oh, I'm like, oh.
You're low.
Okay. Let me know. Can y'all hear me? Am I low? Am I not?
In the meantime, good morning, y'all. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Hey.
Yeah, and we're live from the void this morning. Technical difficulties. First problem is that it snowed pretty bad out. Well, it snowed enough for me to not be able to get off the street, so could not get into Weberized Studios this morning and trying to do this from home, but things are all over the place. So
literally.
So if you don't see me for a minute, that's why. And yeah, but that's okay. It's a good thing. Buddy's a good looking dude. We can just focus on him for a minute until the camera gets right on my side. In the meantime, I'll let Buddy take it away because it's kind of right now I'm kind of a discombobulated voice on here. So, yeah.
People's like, what? Who's that? Okay. Let me know, Paul. Can we even do the intro? Is that a possibility?
Oh yeah, we can do the intro. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
okay.
It's just the camera. It's just my camera that's dead. So
A couple people in the chat. Pop says sounds good, buddy. Brother Muhammad says I can hear you. As you can see, got a new microphone. Trying to update the clarity of my voice so you can hear my nice. I don't know if it's like falsetto or soprano. I don't know what it is, but
ask Pops. He knows what the range.
Yeah. What is my voice? What register is this? Hopefully you can hear it nice and clear with the new mic.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Alaikum salam, Brother Muhammad. Judy Crimson gives us a good morning. Mark Manor says good morning. Christy Kenora says good morning.
Hey.
And Black Dynamite in the house with a good morning, gents.
Yes. It is a morning. I'll let you determine how good it is, but yeah. Be safe out there, y'all. Apparently it snowed pretty good out there in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, I slipped and slid. I couldn't get off the street. Couldn't get out of my spot. Even just spinning.
And so you park on the street?
I did last night, yeah, but even in the parking lot here, still everybody's just spinning. Can't even get out.
Oh yeah, I mean, but of course you park on the street. That plow comes through, get a whole pile of snow in your car.
Yeah, it didn't pile up like that. It just got slick and Yeah, it's not. It didn't get too much. It just enough to slide around. That's all.
Just slippery enough. Rome's review in the chat says hands on the wheel. Yes, please, y'all. Hands on the wheel. If you are out here in this mess, fortunate enough to be able to, get out and get your car moving. Please drive safely.
There you go. Pop says clarity is great. Sound is pristine. I would love to use your mic for my next recording project.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's what I plan on doing, Pops. We got these mics because Rick Rubin records with them.
Yeah, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did the research on these bad boys here.
Buttery. Now you know how our morning is going. Let us know how your morning is going. Feel free to chime into the chat as many of the chat chimers have already done. Let us know, how was your weekend? What did you get into over the weekend? Anything exciting? Did you make it to any of the haps that we may have talked about on Friday? I saw a few people posting about the Omaha Performing Arts event that went down.
Oh yeah.
So if you're in attendance at that, please let us know. Brother Josh Tagg dropping some photos.
Yeah, man. That's what's up. There was a few good things that happened over the weekend.
And anything jumped out to you? What you talk about? What else happened?
Well, that was the main thing was that stuff. But we also there were some talks and some things that went on too. I know that the Fabric Lab had a thing. You know what? We haven't checked in to see what was going on with Culture House. Culture House got some things coming up too. And also over the weekend, Messengix came in to Weberized and did a show with Stuart Chittenden
and Lives. I did see that
live. So yeah, man. So that this Wednesday coming up at 2:00, you get to hear that live session, which was dope.
Tune in, y'all.
Yeah,
tune in. Man, Stewie C gets down. Big shout out to Stuart Chittenden and Lives and the Squish Talks platform. I'm definitely proud to have him a part of the fam and actually working on some things in the background. So definitely look out for more work from the squad, if you will. Also a big shout out to Jocelyn. She's making some waves and making some moves out there in the world.
Yep.
We're part of the American Song Contest representing Nebraska.
Yeah.
Representing.
Getting busy.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you saw, but my wife actually pointed this out to me. Did you know that Adam Soul had a new album out?
I did not.
Man, it's nice. It's nice. I think the name of the album is Intro to the World.
Okay.
Yeah. Big shout out to Omaha's own Adam Soul.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know who she is, man, she is like the Sade of Omaha for real.
Man.
She's bad.
If you don't know, what's wrong with you?
She kills the game. She's got an incredible voice. She's from Ghana and has this really incredible voice that she plays. And everybody know I don't like ukulele, but she get down with the ukulele and that voice. You can't beat it.
Pull out the arp. Yeah, man. Yeah. Black Dynamite says, listen, it's late, but last weekend I went to the itis. Okay.
Ooh.
What'd you get?
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, Pop, sure mics, the SM7s.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they get down. Studio quality, radio quality. We finally upgraded a little bit. Need a couple more things, but yeah, it's going down.
I'm pleased with it.
That's what's up, man. I told you you gotta get that processor with it. We're gonna hook you up because it's you talking. You think you got butter now? Wait till you throw this DBX on. Butter. Straight butter.
We'll get into that. But regardless of the butter with this mic, we definitely appreciate everyone for joining the conversation. As always, feel free to chime into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. And of course, if there's anything going on in your worlds that you'd like to let the people know about, feel free to do so. And again, we do have several things to talk about. We are here for the next 2 hours, Lord willing. Hopefully, again, with all the difficulties that we're having, you never know what's going to happen. But we are expecting 2 guests to come through. It is Monday, so we will be having our partners from The Reader and Flatwater Free Press coming through to give us updates and talk to us about what they have going on in their worlds.
Right.
And then also we have several other things to discuss throughout the show. Of course, on Friday, we talked about the Camisha Hollis story and giving an update to that plea deal that was just issued. And now there's a call to action going out from the family. So again, we'll dive into that and kind of give an update on this situation. Also, speaking of updates, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, Paul, but a friend of actually posted on Facebook about an accident that she witnessed, and there was some questionable police activity in this accident. But as more details come out, the conversation is sort of changing. So I definitely want to talk about that conversation and the incident that happened at 30th and Ames, right in front of the place, the headquarters, as we like to call the coffee shop right there on the corner, the Scooters on 30th and Ames. Yeah. some children involved. Yeah, hot mess.
Babies got pepper spray or pepper balls or something.
Man, babies was endangered and got injured. So yeah. Speaking of babies being in danger and getting injured, talking about the dangers of the prison system and this whole preschool to prison pipeline, especially in North Omaha. And there's actually some studies, Paul, your favorite word, and some more information, some more data coming out about exactly how bad the incarceration situation is in North Omaha. And actually, there's some comparisons between North Omaha and South Central LA.
Dang.
Yeah, man. Which actually goes right along with some comparisons that I was making. So we'll definitely talk about that a little bit, and would love to hear from the listeners. Big shout out to friend of First Sky Omaha, Paul Fallman, also who sends us a lot of information. We've been saying this. We're going to have to get him on as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He's doing the good work as far as incarceration and letting the incarcerated population not go unheard. So definitely shout out to him. And then also, we definitely have to get into this list. The May 10th primary is coming up quicker than you think. We're already in March. This year just started, and May 10th is going to be here before you know it. And even before May 10th, there are a few deadlines that we need to talk about and go over this list of candidates, because the future is now, man.
Yep. It's ready. We ready. We got to get ready for this one.
Oh yeah. And again, we're one of the first media outlets, kind of early out, looking at these races, some of the issues that will be on the ballot, and of course we will be politicking with P here coming up pretty soon. So definitely look out for that in the next couple weeks, hopefully sooner than that. Again, looking forward to getting Precious back on as soon as possible. But of course, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds, feel free to chime into the chat. As mentioned, we're here for the next 2 hours. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, no Star Trek Rich today, but we're here with you, so it's all good. Paul B,
yo,
let's go.
Hey. Good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul
in the morning
is not here, and Buddi3 Da Gawd. As you can see, we're having some technical difficulties here, but we are here on this crazy Monday morning, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in right now. It is already the 7th of March, and that's a real trip. So I can't believe. I'm thinking that we're gonna get away without seeing any more snow or any more cold weather before spring came around. But of course, we're in Omaha, so it is what it is.
Man,
Wanda Lewis in the chat says, "Drive cautiously due to weather conditions. Snow in the O." Yep. I could not get out of my space this morning. That's the reason why I'm not down at Weberized Studios this morning. I'm live from the void again. Terry Human Petro says, "Good morning" with the snowflake.
Man, see, that's a telltale sign right there. Usually she lets the sunshine in, but now it's snowflakes.
Yeah, dude, not happy about the snowflakes. Technical difficulties for those of y'all wondering what's going on with my camera. There it is, right there. The utility's up. So working on that behind the scenes while we go ahead and go through the show. We do got some special guests coming in from Flatwater Free Press, Matt Wynn. And also Leia Cates, Princess Leia coming on in today from Read the Reader. So we do have some special guests. Yeah, I know, Wanda. I appreciate you. And can't nobody. Yeah, we're working on it behind the scenes, but it's not. It won't be like this the whole show. Hopefully, we'll get it wrong. We'll get it wrong.
Yeah. And let's just be happy we can hear his voice. Let's just. Yeah, man, it's one of those shows. It's just one of those shows. Brother Nunaji L in the building. Good morning, fam.
Yo.
Islam, brother. Gail Jefferson. I think that's not a name we see very often. Says no schools, remote learning, stay safe driving. So yeah. Again, if you have to hit the roads, if you have to go punch the clock, please drive safely.
Yeah,
Wanda Lewis. Okay. Friday we were cute. now Paul's getting handsome. Nice,
There it is. Took a long time to get here. No, I'm just playing.
We finally made it. We here. Brother Muhammad says, you mean to tell me that Star Trek Rich could not beam you to the station location from the spaceship platform?
Man, the teleprompter was down. It was down again.
Oh yeah, that's the technical difficulties we're talking about.
That's what happens when the snow hits, man. The snow ain't good for nothing.
The teleporter goes down.
Mark Manor, I heard Mark Manor get up. He put a post up this morning saying he was traveling somewhere and got the added benefit of some snow or something like that. I was like, this man really loves him some snow. I'm glad you get your winters. I'm glad you get your winters, Mark. But you can have that, brother.
Yeah.
He was like, well, so I'm one that Paul's the one that can't do nothing about it. It's gonna happen out here in Omaha. So guess that's what it is.
As you see, it's gonna happen, and you just got to deal with it. So big shout out to everybody dealing with it this morning, y'all. We appreciate y'all, and if you're dealing with the snow and tuned in with us, definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Actually, speaking of driving safely, let's just go ahead and knock out this accident that went down on Friday. Because actually this was brought to my attention from one of the friends of Miss Brianna Fool, who is, by the way, running for school board District 2. But apparently she was at the Scooters right there, the headquarters, as we like to call it around here, right there on the corner of 30th and Ames, handling some business. And as she was leaving, saw an accident. But it wasn't the accident that really drew her attention. It wasn't the accident that led her to post what she saw. It was what followed. Apparently, after the accident, which was quite severe, as she tells it, and actually from looking at some of the photos, the whole front end of the car involved is completely smashed. But again, it was not the accident itself that's drawing a lot of conversation surrounding this incident. Apparently, shortly after the accident, the State Patrol officers asked the driver to get out of the car. And when the driver failed to get out of the car, several police cars surrounded that vehicle, and eventually officers shot pepper balls, non-lethal ammunition, into the car to get the suspect out. And people later found out that there were also 2 children in the car, and that of course is what's causing a lot of people to ask some questions and kind of chime up on this situation. But as more reports come out, it is being reported actually that the accident was the result of a high-speed chase. Apparently the gentleman involved, who's been identified as Martell Tolles of Council Bluffs, had expired plates on the car, was pulled over, and when police asked him to get out the car, and when the police were going to interact with them, they sped off, ensuing into a police chase, which led to the accident. And apparently the suspect did fracture his leg, and there's also 2 children who are in the car who have head injuries. But again, the big point of the conversation is how the police handled that situation with the firing of the pepper balls into the car with children in the car. And yeah, some people are calling, for some accountability to be had. Some people are saying this is justified. Again, another situation. Thoughts and concerns?
Yeah, I don't know if you have the piece there, but I thought it was interesting to read what Breonna Taylor actually wrote when she witnessed this. And I'll go ahead and read it here. It says, about an hour ago, I was meeting with a friend at Scooters at 30th and Ames when a bad car crash occurred. Coincidentally, there was a state trooper already at the intersection, so they pulled up and called for backup. I suppose they normally would. However, when the person in the car crashed didn't immediately get out of the car, about 4 or 5 cruisers surrounded the scene with guns, assault rifles, and canines drawn. Okay, so that's
That part.
yeah, that's a little much. But then we find out later on it was a high speed chase. Understandable. The person finally tries to get out of the car but can't because the door was damaged. The police fire pepper balls into the car, and the person, who was clearly badly injured, got out of the car, and the police detained him. Moments later, the police searched the car, find two babies were in the car. They fired pepper balls into a car with children in it. Super upsetting. I hope this will be addressed by the community.
There you go.
And that's kind of the reason why we are bringing this up, because she kind of went ahead and put a little call to action out there. They're it's not just a cut and dry situation here because of how it went down. When you have eyewitnesses like Breonna Taylor, who actually watched this thing go down, her concern had to do with the fact that he could not get out of the car. He was trying to get out and was kind of stuck in the car, but they were so rushing him out so bad that they went ahead and fired pepper balls inside, as if he wasn't trying to get out already. Without kind of like seeing what was going on in the car before you did that. So
yeah. And actually, the edit, there's an edit here. It says the driver was in the process of getting out of the car, but couldn't because the door was damaged. They fired pepper balls into the open car door. If they would have given the driver 30 more seconds to get out, I feel like they could have detained them peacefully.
There you go. So
you see, it's reported that they had a fractured leg. So the prospects of them running.
Yeah, and I like I said, if I twist my ankle trying to get out the car, it's going to be a little issue for me. So if you got a fractured leg and you're trying to push your way out of a damaged door, give me a minute before you start firing in the car. So even though this is a situation that they're saying it was a high speed chase, he was doing things illegal, so on and so forth. There still could have been a little bit. It sounds like to me, based on eyewitnesses that we know, that there could have been some little de-escalation stuff going on that what might have helped the situation out to where babies weren't involved in getting pepper balls. So I think even though this is a situation where they were probably justified in pulling this guy over and calling for backup and arresting him, it still could have been handled differently, and there should be some kind of accountability for that.
I guess, what do you feel like that accountability would be? Would it be too far, for someone to get fired? Should someone be on leave?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know, but I think in order for the community to, I don't see how they can keep trying to act like they're going to build trust in the community when they do stuff like that. That seems a little overboard for one guy who they think ain't getting out the car fast enough.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is an example of like a lack of aggression, or a lack of not aggression, but what's the word? I'll say more so empathy.
Well, just it's always an overboard response to everything.
Right.
They're scared. They're scared about stuff, and it's over. When it seems like it's an overboard response when it comes to us in our community. So, is it a surprise that they've shot pepper balls into a car where two babies were at on 30th and Ames? No. Should it be a surprise? Yeah.
And I guess it would be fair to compare this story to like the Dylan Roof type situations, where you got somebody, who ran into a church and shot it up, and they're still getting Burger King and things like that.
Right. It's response levels and the whole nine. So it's not cool. And I think that Breonna's right. I think that it's somebody, they should be held accountable. There should be some questions and concerns, and some people speaking up a little bit about how that particular thing went down, especially if they witnessed it, especially if they saw what happened.
Yeah.
So just bring it to your attention. For those of you who don't know why my voice is here and my picture ain't, this is what's going on my camera right now. So I'm trying to get that fixed in behind the scenes. I don't mean to leave Buddy on hanging. This is tough as I am right now, but got to do what we got to do to get this fixed. Right.
It's all right. I think the people understand.
Yeah. So we'll work on that as far as the shows. It won't be like this the whole show for sure, but we appreciate everybody that's bearing with us through the technical difficulties. Gail Jefferson in the chat says, unacceptable, understandable, the high-speed chase, but I'm sure police excuse will be totally different when it comes to children. They could have at least looked in the car before the pepper spray. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They, Von Chapman says lack of discretion is always the issue when black suspect is involved. Right.
Oh yeah.
They just go all out. So it's too bad. When they pulled him over the first time, if you got, if the report came back that they pulled him over, then, don't the first thing they do when they pull you over is come up and, look all through the car, have one guy on the other side of the car looking in. They could have seen some babies. But, Gail Jefferson says, they're talking in the chat. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. That this is another indication that they made it taking things a little too far here, and there needs to be some questions.
Yeah. And I do find it interesting that there has not been a statement either from either Chief Schmatter or Mayor Stothert.
Yeah, I mean
maybe not the mayor, but I can see the chief making a statement about this.
Maybe. I mean, they if they think it's important, if they think it's big enough deal, if the public is crying enough about it, then maybe they'll say something.
Yeah, but I guess the fair question is what will we want to happen? Who will we want to be held accountable, and how do we hold them accountable in this type of situation? What should happen?
That's a good question. Let's put it to the chat.
Yeah.
Everybody who's in the chat, let us know what you think needs to be the course of action for this particular incident. And Breonna Taylor, if you're in the chat, and since you're one of the ones who witnessed this,
is it Breonna? You keep saying Breonna Taylor. Is it Breonna Taylor or Breonna Fool?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Breonna Fool is the one who posted this. Yeah, my bad. That was a slip of the brain there on that one. And Miss Fool is usually always in the chat with us, so
yeah.
That's what I'm calling out to. I'm sorry about that. Calling out to, yeah, you witnessed this thing. What do you think? What do you think should go down? And what do any of us in the chat think? Like, this is kind of what I'd like to know. Like, what do we? Part of this sounds like this guy was doing something criminal, so part of this understandable, but did they go too far? Is it just that we're concerned about the babies, or should they really have looked in the car before they started shooting pepper balls? I mean, what do you think?
Black Dynamite says, were the babies hurt? Yes, there were reported head injuries to the babies, but I think that's a result of the accident and not necessarily the pepper balls. I don't know, what damage, if any, there was to the children as a result of the pepper balls, but you still don't want to put children in that kind of damage. And I think an important part of this also is what Brother Muhammad is saying. I don't see not one black command officer on the scene. So were you there? Did you see that incident, Brother Muhammad? I know you kind of frequent. Okay, Wanda Lewis says Brother Muhammad was there as well. So yeah, that's an important aspect of that situation, knowing that, again, not one black command officer was on the scene, which kind of goes to what we were talking about on Friday with Ukraine. How do you perceive a situation when you view it, when you look at it? What is your perspective on a situation based upon your experiences? And if we have this is the type of situations when you have people who are not from the community policing the community.
Very true.
Because that type of situation, had that been, officer who might have known that person or something like that, like, come on, man, get out the car, man. Come on. You got caught, John. Get out the car. You handle it differently.
Cat was from Council Bluffs, but same principle though. And even if they I'm not mad about nothing all the way up until firing pepper balls into the open door without it sounds like prematurely. Without really seeing what was going on, and without letting them get a chance to get out of the car, just always want to fire something off is what it is. Last time I had heard anything about pepper balls, a friend of ours that were protesting during Freedom Summer 2022 got hit in the eye with one, and her eye got taken out.
Yeah. I think that's an important part too. The fact that while these pepper balls are considered non-lethal, they can do some damage, especially when you have officers aiming them at people's head, which is not what they're supposed to be doing.
No.
Yeah.
7:31 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In
Paul
the
B,
morning.
Buddi3 Da Gawd. Oh man, see?
So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's all good. It's
I'm
all
just all
good.
discombobulated today.
It's one of them days.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. No, let me start again. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, on the buttery mic. I like that. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. No Star Trek Rich today. We're live from the void. Brooke says, "I don't see you, Paul." Yeah, nobody's seeing me right now. We're having
He's
some
in the
technical
void.
difficulties in the void. But we will take a quick break and come right back. And yeah, because we're still working on trying to get this cam up. But stay tuned. We got some special guests coming in the house. We got Princess Leia coming on through from the Reader, and then Matt Wynn a little later on in the show. And for the moment, you just have to look at the handsome Buddi3 Da Gawd for the moment. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
It's going down, y'all. Stay tuned. Ooh, yo, we're back. Man. Okay, we got the camera up for a minute. It might not stay this way, but it's here right now. So First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. It is a Monday, y'all. I don't know if you're on to this, but Monday the March 7th, and it's feeling very Monday-ish at this moment. And
a severe case of the Mondays.
Severe case of the Mondays today. But thank you for joining us and getting up so early on this Monday morning and joining us for all the things that we're talking about right now. Thank you so much. If you're on the Facebook page, go ahead and share that page so that we can get more people on and watching and talking.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate that. If you're over there on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the YouTube page as well. We got to play the YouTube game now, so it's going down. Kateri Him and Pedal says Snowy Monday. Yeah,
man.
We're not happy about it. Not happy.
Yeah.
So just to fill you in on what's going on here, we are not at Weberized Studios today. No Star Trek Rich today. Could not get out of my spot, man. So it was slipping and sliding all around. Couldn't get down to the studio. Have to do it from the void here, and doing it from the void means some technical difficulties this morning. So thank you for bearing with us.
Of course.
Yeah, that's me. That's me, Brother Muhammad. That's me. No holograms yet. Next time in the future when we start having these technical problems, we'll have to meet you in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Have our avatars do the show, but we're working on it.
Actually, yeah, you sent me a video of that, Paul. We might have to look into making that happen. Is that something y'all can see yourselves doing? Would y'all be willing to join us in the metaverse?
Here's my thought about that is if you're going to be able to watch something in the metaverse, you're going to have to be able to do it without the VR glasses.
Yes.
Everybody's not going to want to go in and look at stuff in virtual reality. So if they can see it on the screen, then if you can translate that to a screen too, or a phone or wherever, we'll see. And the other part that our thing is podcast based, so it'll always be audio that you be able to detect, so that'll be good. But at the same time, we got to move with the times, move with the tech. As you can see, if you don't, well, you get left behind on it.
Oh yeah, definitely get left behind. So as Brother Muhammad says, yes. So again, if any more you would like to join us, that's something you're interested in seeing us stepping into and getting involved in.
Yep.
Please, because I do think this is a nice community. Like we can definitely we can definitely get into like NFTs, those types
Yeah,
of things.
there's a lot to talk about when it comes to those things. As a matter of fact, there's some backlash going on right now with NFTs that I've been reading about a lot. Yeah, people, it's not going the way that everybody wanted it to go. So it's interesting what's going on. So, and
Yeah,
that's funny. Right on this, the news of Snoop Dogg turning Death Row into an NFT label. There's a bunch of backlash on that. What does that exactly mean? They're trying to redefine things, all that stuff. But you're right. Like Brother Muhammad says, space, the final frontier. Space is the
man,
place,
it's the place.
and black people are in space. Black people will be in the future, and that's what we're working on. So that's what it is.
So it's all about. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, go ahead, do yourselves a favor. Check out that Kanye West Black Future Month, the Future
Mm,
Brunch. Yeah, heavy times.
very heavy.
Heavy times. But yes, welcome. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, live from the voids. And dealing with the technical difficulties. So big shout out to everyone just now tuning in. We appreciate you, and all of you who have been kicking it with us since the beginning of the show, chiming into the chat. Hopefully you will continue to do so. As mentioned earlier, we will have a special guest coming in a little bit, but I did want to dive into the next story, kind of continue the conversation, if that's all right.
Yep.
And really, again, like I said, continue right along with what we're talking about as far as police interactions, police trust in North Omaha. And we can say East Omaha, really, north and south, from the top to the bottom of the deuce. We're all kind of dealing with the same issues, and that's really feeling like we're outside of the full community.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the situation with Brother Lavelle Brock, who was the subject of a latest Omaha World Herald article looking at the incarceration situation specifically in North Omaha. Lavelle says that at the age of 16, he actually began his career as a criminal, and his experience, his first of 3 stints in prison. And he says that being recently released, he also believes that the path he ultimately took to prison was laid out before ran afoul of the law. Of course, Lavelle grew up in North Omaha, same story as many of us, multi-generational poverty, single parent home, even as a kid, recognizing how segregated Omaha's Black community was from the rest of the city, of course, with things like few jobs, elevated levels of fractured families, and school struggles, and also a shortage of role models to inspire future success. All of these, Brock says, led to what's known as the preschool to prison pipeline, or as they're calling it in this article, a birth to prison pipeline, saying that we're on that pipeline even before we interact with the school system, just by birth. That's kind of the path we're sent on. And actually, North Omaha specifically has some of the worst numbers in the country. That's according to a World Herald analysis of a Harvard University study. Actually, in 2010, a national snapshot of people behind bars found that more than half a dozen North Omaha census tracts produced higher rates of male incarceration than any of those tracts in South Central LA. So again, more than half a dozen North Omaha census tracts produced higher rates of incarceration than, again, any in South Central LA.
Yeah, that's
Ground
crazy.
zero for gang activity. And overall, Nebraska locks up people of color at a far higher rate than the nation as a whole. And of course, Nebraska's gap between its low white incarceration rate and high rates for racial minorities are among the widest in the country. So again, not only does Nebraska have some of the highest rates of incarceration, but the disparities of race within those rates are also the widest in the country. And of course, Brother Senator Terrell McKinney put some respect on his name as speaking out on this issue, one of the very issues that are close to his heart. And he has been very adamant about fighting during his stint in the Senate. He says, if we continue down the same path that we're going down, how's this ever going to change? Of course, he's not surprised by the high rate of Black incarceration, but like poverty, North Omaha incarceration has become intergenerational. Again, Brother McKinney has not been shy about sharing the fact that he has family members, uncles, brothers, I believe even his father incarcerated, and how that has impacted him and how he views the world. Also, Levon Stennis Williams of Reconnect says that it's a normal occurrence for our Black males to be incarcerated. There's nothing normal about that, however. So, again, breaking the chains, breaking the cycles, and breaking what some see as normal.
Yeah. We definitely got to have Paul Philman on, talk a little bit more about this subject here. This is the thing that we talk about a lot, but we don't really have, we haven't had really kind of in the chat kind of conversations about incarceration as much. Is it our experience here, the chat chimers, is it our experience here that do we have a lot of experience with family members in jail, or personal experience, or friends? We talk a lot about not building new jails. We talk a lot about the fact that the philosophy here is this preschool to prison pipeline that we're trying to fight against. We know statistically that there's a lot going on. How is it touching us personally? I'd kind of like to know. Von Chapman in the chat says if they ever address the reasons for disparities, they will always have a reason to justify expanding the juvenile justice center. Well, I don't think I'm saying that right. If they never address the reasons for the disparities, they will always have reason to justify expanding the juvenile justice center and building more prisons in Nebraska. This is a predictable outcome of a failed and non-existent juvenile and prison reform process that has never addressed poverty as a root cause. The only people paying the price are the victims and the families of the victims, and the Nebraska taxpayers of a purpose-driven, racially motivated, fiscal, irresponsible system. Yeah, that says a lot. It says it all. These things aren't being addressed, it's always a reactionary thing that's going on here. So we look at the building of new prisons as reactionary. Juvenile Justice Center is reactionary, instead of going into the neighborhoods and finding out why there's the trouble in the first place, or even just acknowledging this whole preschool to prison pipeline. Everything that happens from preschool to primary school to junior high to high school, everything that happens that lends towards all of those things. And it's not just all the kids go bad as they're growing up through these systems here. So not a lot to talk about. But like I said, going back to my previous comment, how is it affecting us personally? What's going on here? We know that we have some people in the chat that have people that are in jail that don't belong there. Like we about to go march on in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Brother
Jackson, right? And we've had people like Keatron Zykel on talking about Brother Ed Poindexter being in jail. But what about the lesser known stories in the day-to-days and the lifestyle of being in and out of jail and those types of things? How does that affect people's lives personally, our lives personally? If you have any things you want to share with that, let us know, because it's definitely something that we want to bring home, and not just not just read studies and have talks on, and the philosophy of what it is that we want to see here, but also what we can personally do to circumvent some of this stuff as well. So just trying to put it out there to see if there's any way we can approach solutions that way.
Man, I definitely appreciate you putting it in that perspective. I personally do have not necessarily family. Well, I've had family members like uncles and stuff who served time. Gladly they've since been released. But yeah, I have close friends who are currently locked up. And siblings of close friends who you're doing multiple decade sentences. So yeah, this is definitely something that hits home personally for me. But even if it doesn't necessarily hit home, if you don't necessarily personally know someone currently incarcerated, you can still see the effects in the community. Just
Yeah.
with the shootings and the unrest that happens in the community as a result of some of these things. That leads to these people going to jail. I mean, actually, we can support a plan. There is a proposal. There is a plan out there. Again, big shout out to both Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, and also Senator Justin Wayne, put some respect to his name, because they are definitely thinking of this birth to prison pipeline when they're asking for the $400 million in federal COVID-19 economic relief funds that they will hope will go to the development of jobs and opportunities in North Omaha. That would again deter people from living that type of lifestyle and making those types of decisions. And actually, Chief Schmaderer is quoted in support of this plan in saying that such front end investment will prevent crime and incarceration. Actually, Chief Schmaderer said, "I'd rather have 1,000 jobs strategically placed in the right part of our city to affect poverty that would reduce violent crime far more than 1,000 more police officers." So again, even Chief Schmaderer is saying that we need 1,000. He would rather have 1,000 jobs than 1,000 new police officers. Even saying that the 1,000 jobs would definitely make a larger impact than more police patrolling the streets.
Interesting. I'm surprised he said that, to be
I
honest.
am too. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah. Josh taking the chat says, I've had too much experience with incarceration, unfortunately. Myself, my father, my brother, and both my sisters have spent time locked up in my lifetime. Same story as many: poverty, mental illness, and lack of thoughtful drug policy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, affects personally for sure. I didn't really have any personal experience with well, I've never been to jail, first of all, and I never really had anybody around me that didn't spend more than a weekend or something like that in jail over some ruckus
Mm-hmm.
growing up. But when I got here into Omaha and started meeting some extended family here, now I know of some cousins that are in prison, and some family members that are in prison, and how that affects the extended family, how it affects the family around, the families that are missing them now because they're in prison. And some of the sad stories of how they got there, that some
Oh
of them
yeah.
was, some of it was their fault, some of it wasn't, as far as we're concerned. But just how much of strikes me is how much of a lifestyle can be. It can be I hate to use that word lifestyle, but it can be it used to be so far out of my world that it seems like there's people out here that are in and out of prison, or worry about this a lot, or no people, no law enforcement officers and stuff like that got it out for them. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, like all kinds of real, like, that's like, it's part of the life, it's part of life. And I think that's real unfortunate. I think it's real unfortunate that
It
that
is. I mean, growing up in North Omaha is something that I experienced firsthand. Myself, yes, I have been to jail several times. Well, not several times, twice. I've been to jail twice. Once was some I was breaking the law. Let's just call it what it is. I was involved in breaking and entering, breaking in people's houses and stealing stuff and just doing things that my Dukes definitely was not proud of. And
mm,
I would say I'm not proud to say that I was doing it, but I am proud to say that I learned from it. And I am, um, I will say that looking back at that, it is definitely what you said, what you were saying. A lot of people, even myself, having gone to college and having the opportunities that were before me, there was still an element of hopelessness. And that element of
mm,
hopelessness is going to lead you to just do whatever.
interesting.
Really. And I was fortunate enough to have parents who actually, cared about me and were trying their best to provide the best that they could. But there are some people who are raising themselves. I'll just say that. And these are stories that I witnessed firsthand of people who, parents are either incarcerated themselves, addicted to drugs. Their parents are wrapped up in that lifestyle. So they themselves, just
Yeah.
naturally go into that lifestyle, or as you mentioned, are kind of forced into that lifestyle. There are definitely situations that I witness of people who are trying to stay out of trouble, trying their very best to stay out of those situations, and just the environment that they're in. You know, officers might know that a cousin of theirs is involved in something, so every time they see an officer or that officer, they're getting stopped, they're getting harassed, which leads to them having a record, which leads to, you know, them not being able to get opportunities, which creates a whole snowball effect. And sometimes it doesn't seem like it's really in your control. A lot of times it seems like, especially if you're a young person growing up in this type of environment, it's just easier to be what society tells you are.
Yeah, I read one time that there's a way that there's a thing that humans have in them that usually wants to be true to what it is that you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get told that you're bad all the time, then you're gonna go up and there's some sense of justice in you to for you to go ahead and act the way that everybody expects you to act, the way that you think of yourself, even if that's not what you want to do. So interesting stuff. Before we get to our guest, is this in the waiting wings now, I just want to jump into the chat real quick. Josh Tague is relaying some information. Says, so many people try their best to get back to living their lives, but the system makes it so difficult. It's almost that they want people to be locked up. Well,
Oh yeah,
we know they do.
right.
We know they do. Miss Erica Fell says, I'm familiar. It affects the children terribly. It affects everyone, including just friends like family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Josh Chase, yeah. Also, Von Chapman says that therein lies the purpose-driven disparity. PTSD is a result, and it continues.
Yeah, man. A lot of people struggling and trying to live through PTSD and not doing a good job at it.
Very, very true. It is 7:52. If you believe in the concept of time, we're running a little late, and so we want to go ahead and jump our special guest who's in the wings. Got Princess Leia in the house.
Hey.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Nice to see you both. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Nice to have you this morning. Thanks for joining us. Dealing with some technical difficulties, so if Paul's camera dies or if he just disappears, don't be too alarmed.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
All
I'll fall
right,
back
won't
into
worry
the
about
void
it.
for a minute, then don't worry about it.
Yeah. But welcome. For those who don't know, we have Leia Cates, as we like to call her, Princess Leia around here, writer of The Reader, or from The Reader, and definitely a part of the First Sky family. So before we dive into anything, you know, how you doing this morning? Everything treating you right? How's life treating you?
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, doing well this morning. Doing well in life. Things are good and busy at The Reader, and I'm trying to decide which grad school I'm going to. So
okay,
Wow.
well, good decisions.
Yeah.
good choices to make, and a good
Yeah.
problem to have. So definitely
Yeah.
best wishes on that, and
what are
busy
your-
indeed.
What are your prospects for that?
Yeah.
I have full rides plus funding at both Rutgers in New Jersey and University of California, San Diego in San Diego,
Nice.
of course. So
Jersey or San Diego? Come on, it's
Yeah.
San Diego. It's San Diego.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Don't make me mad at you when you pick Jersey. So
Okay.
But I'm sure whichever university you pick will definitely be better for you making that decision. So best
congratulations
wishes.
on the full
Yeah,
rides.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
And hey, you do good work, so you deserve it. You do good work, so you deserve
Thank
it. Again,
you.
for those who aren't familiar, Leia again writes with The Reader and works specifically on Omaha jobs, kind of looking at some of the disparities and some of the trials and tribulations that our community members go through trying to provide for themselves and win some bread, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, first of all, a few people in the chat giving you some kudos as well. Brooke Rogers says Rutgers though. Rutgers, okay. Miss Erica Phelps says I'm very happy for you. So you know, getting some love.
Thank you, Miss Erica.
From the few chat chimers. Also, Leia Keister says that's a great name. That's how I pronounce it. So getting some Leia love.
Now we know Miss Keister.
That's the way to do it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so what are you working on now? What's the current story? And how can we help?
Thank you. Yeah. So I just to back up a little bit before I story, I just finished up a story which is out in print now and should be coming out online before too long here. And it's looking at the federally funded Temporary Assistance for Needy Families programs that helps Nebraskans who are struggling to afford basic necessities. And basically, if you look at the statistics, just over 90% of those applications are denied. So people who really need this money, who are struggling to make ends meet, who have children, wondering where the next meal is coming from. 90% of those applications are denied, which is just a staggering statistic. Are you guys still there, by the way?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Oh, perfect. Okay, can't see. Okay, couldn't see
Yeah, don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed.
Okay. Yeah. So wild numbers there. So I was looking into why that happens, and I spoke with somebody named Tanya Gifford, who's the executive director of Lift Up Sarpy County. It's a nonprofit that serves underserved community members, and there's just a lot of kind of red tape at the end of the day. Like families will be just over the minimum income level, and as a result of the few extra dollars they're making up, they can't get the benefit anymore. A family will really need the money and then all of a sudden get a raise, and it's just a slight raise, and they can't get the benefit. And Tanya was actually saying she's told families in the past not to take those wage raises because then they won't be eligible for the benefits that they need. So anyway, just wild stuff there. That's what I was looking at last time. And this time I would love to chat with somebody who has applied for those benefits or, tried to get those benefits and was not able to do so. And just hear about what happened, where they are now, what their experience is. So if anybody knows of somebody like that, I would love to talk to them in the next week or so here. And if that doesn't work out, I could even talk to them down the road a little bit more. But really want to get that lived experience in there. I think that's important for people to see. So,
yeah.
So just to clarify, you're looking for people to speak to and that have applied for some of the benefits. Are you talking about the Sarpy County program or the?
Douglas, honestly, anything is fine. But it's all. I think it's all the same because it's all under the Health and Human Services. But the specific benefit that I was looking at last time was called Temporaries for Needy Families, abbreviated TANF. But if there's somebody who's applied for food stamps and hasn't been able to get them, who's applied for medical insurance, hasn't been able to get that, any other kind of benefit as well would be welcome. So
it's interesting to me. We've been talking a lot about how Pete Ricketts in particular has just turned down a bunch of money for rental assistance for people. And the kind of attitude behind that is they don't need the help, or there's enough jobs out there for people to take and work and do it themselves. And there's always this lack of this attitude that people don't need, that people are just asking for a handout. And do you find that is the same kind of feeling behind the reason why 90% of the people that are applying for these things get turned down?
Yeah, it's really wild because the state actually has a lot of money to give for this. Like they're just sitting on massive amounts of funds, which I should say is a national problem. Many states are sitting on like millions of dollars of funding and not giving them to the people who need them, which is just infuriating. But I find that absolutely is something that's in people's minds, which is like just not true at all. Like when I heard you guys. When I was coming on, it was a little bit of a different situation you were talking about, but you were saying, people often don't have a choice. It's, it's really hard. Like that is the reality. Like a lot of people don't have a choice. They're doing literally everything they can and then some, and it's still, just the system is a mess, and, and it's a racist and classist system, as we all know. So I think that's definitely something that resonates. And another thing that I was hearing when I was talking to Tanya Gifford in Sarpy County for the story is that a lot of people just assume in Sarpy County that people like don't even need it, period, that like everybody's just well off, everybody can afford like a decent house and can put food on the table and everybody's fine, and that's not an issue here. But that's like very far from the truth. That's it's not reality at all. So
actually, as we learned, I did a story on the pantry right across the street from the Culture House. I forget the name of it. But I did a story on them, and that their pantry was serving all kinds of people. And what we learned from the pandemic is actually a lot of those people who you might find or feel like are well off, they're $500 emergency, $100 emergency from missing rent payments and having to cut off bills and not being able to, like, they're barely getting along and working, living off a fine balance. And that's the people that are seen as well off. I think it's interesting that you pointed out the people who do need those benefits and who are, not, they're kind of drowning. And you mentioned that, there are instances where some people have to actually turn down benefits, turn down bonuses, money that they would actually need in order to get these benefits, which is very interesting to me. That makes me think of the saying, it's expensive to be poor. Because again, here you are in a situation where that money could, float you for a month or so, but you actually do need this benefit for a longer lasting help. But again, here you are having to turn down this money that could, help you get your car fixed right now, or help you do something right now, and you got to turn that down in order to get some benefits. It's very interesting and very telling to see how people stay stuck in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But again, if anyone in the chat, if you have any experiences, please definitely let us know.
Yeah, and not just to not to purposely, I am going to bring race into this a little bit as well, because what I'm understanding from certain reports is that most of the people that are using welfare are usually poor white folks, and to me there's such a disparity between there's such a disconnect between the way that a lot of people will vote and compare and really not look like the attitude is that it's all people of color, it's all people in North and South Omaha that need all this help, but it's really more white folks in the whole state of Nebraska that are benefiting from welfare more than anybody else. And I've kind of witnessed some of these things too while distributing food out there with the rap guys, Revolutionary Action Party. We sat there and witnessed so many white families driving through to pick up free food from them. And they're right there on 24th Street distributing that food. And it's kind of alarming to think that there's all this need out there for poor white folks and rural folks. And some of them same folks are keeping some of the political situations that we have here in our state. And just such a disconnect from the fact that and these are some of these people you're saying is 90% of these people are not even getting the help they need from a state that doesn't even think they need it. And like you said, in Sarpy County, they don't think that they need it in Sarpy County. But why? Because there's a lot of white folks in Sarpy County, a lot of people who are more well off than other areas. So I think it's really interesting, this disconnect. If there was some honesty and truth in who was actually using some of these things, they might have different attitudes about releasing these funds. But that's just a side point on that. But it just feels to me really ridiculous. And how did you go about when you were going about getting your information on this stuff? How did you even find out that 90% of the people were getting turned down? Did they give you the stats, and how hard was that to find?
It actually, I could try to drop the link in the chat. It's all public record. They have it there's just a massive database, and they have it, I think, for like every state in the U.S. So that part wasn't that hard to find. That's actually how I started the story. Chris Bowling, who I think we all know Chris, he's the news editor / lead reporter over at The Reader. He sent me a ProPublica article that was talking about how this is happening in a lot of states, like just like a startling number of states are sitting on these massive funds, and So he sent me that, and then he also, along with that, said, "Hey, I think you can this is public record." So, and it is. That's how they got that. The challenge then is getting more detail about that from the state and getting them to open up about the details of what are happening with it and what's happening with the funds that aren't getting distributed, etc. That's the harder part. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, actually, we talked about on Friday, as legislators are preparing Governor Ricketts on the $120 million that Paul had mentioned earlier. There's still, to your point, $44 million unaccounted for. $44 million unaccounted for.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's interesting I wonder in those statistics, are they saying who's applying?
They're not. I can actually try to pull this up here, but if I recall, it's just the number the number each month that are sent in, the number that are approved, and the number that are denied. And then if you figure out those stats, but no, they don't break it down by
No
race
statistics.
or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a
which
good
would be
point.
really great information to have, actually. I feel like that would be a little bit of a headache to get. I'm not sure that anybody would actually give me those numbers, but I should at least try my best to get them.
Yeah,
So,
because they have them
yeah.
because they have not taken
Right.
race
Oh, yeah,
off of
they
any
have.
applications at all. Like they leave what you race on all those applications, and so they have all that information. They're just not releasing the information, which I think is real interesting.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I should try to go after that then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And if
that's what
anyone
the
has
readers.
any,
That's what the reader do. What you talking
Yeah.
about?
there you go. There you go. I do want to hop into the chat really quickly. Brother Josh
Yeah,
Tech says conservative cognitive dissonance. So yeah,
yeah.
definitely calling it that. Mr. Erica Felt says my experience was 24 years ago with a newborn, not old enough to attend childcare yet. I received $360. My rent was $350 plus utilities. Section 8 wasn't open for applications or wait lists. I was obviously evicted.
Mm.
Yeah, man. And then you have an eviction like that on your record, and it's even harder to find a place. So again, another example of being in poverty being very, very expensive.
Republican, we can't say it without saying Republican-led states who have this whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps idea of how everything works, and then people suffer. And what the point that gets me is that it's mostly white people suffering. So the cognitive dissonance is so real, it's insane. Why would you keep voting that for yourself?
Oh yeah. It's definitely cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Well, we like it, and hopefully we gave you some some ideas on what to dig into next. Even though it will probably, like you said, will be a very, very big headache to get on some of those details, I'm sure. Are you continuing on with this subject in your next writings? What?
Yeah, that's the goal for this next piece. So if I can't get somebody in the next week or so here to talk to you, because I have been having trouble always getting sources for these kinds of things, but then I'll still do something related to it. I'm really taking a deep dive now into the experience of low-income families in the Omaha community, and specifically how those families are getting benefits and how that relates to the jobs they have and the money that they're making. I should say also, while I'm here, I just want to give a shout out to Miss Erica Felt, who I did a fantastic interview with for my February story about poverty among Nebraska's childcare providers. And let's see here, I think current statistics are that 27% of in-home childcare providers and 20% of center staff receive some kind of public assistance. So anyway, great interview there with her. Feel free to look that up, and about just how expensive it is to run a child care, and how little support there is for these people who are providing an essential service in the community.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely nice to see one of the friends of the family stepping up and speaking out, and one of the frequent chat chimers at that speaking out. So definitely big shout out to you, Miss Erica Felt. And again, if anyone else in the chat would like to assist Miss Leia with her work, and just have your voice be heard. That's really what it's about. That's why we love partnering with the reader, because they definitely do the work of getting to the people, letting the people tell their own stories and putting it in its proper context. So definitely big shout out to you, Leia, and big shout out to everyone, the whole squad over there at the reader.
Yeah, your doppelganger over here, the other Leia, says I could offer stories anonymously about patients I support as the social worker about this.
Yeah, I would be great to connect with her. Yeah,
that's cool. Take you guys' name down in the chat here, and so you can talk on Facebook. Also, just want to keep on putting the call out there for people. You don't necessarily have to. It doesn't necessarily have to be you in your situation, but if you know somebody that would want to talk about this, then you might want to refer them over, because a lot of times people won't really understand what's going on until they hear a personal story about it, which is why Leia's writing is so effective. Because in the way that she interviews and talks to people and is very thorough with it. So definitely let's do that. Let's take some action on that as the first Sky Omaha fam. Help her find some people to be able to talk to and share stories with, so that we can get that story out on these things.
Terrific.
Yes.
No, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I was gonna,
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, Leia, is there? I'm actually not on Facebook. Is there? I wonder if she has a Twitter or an Instagram that I could message her at.
Yeah, or shoot over your email address. Anything that you guys can connect with, we can send that along.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. She says, "I'm thankful you are writing about this. Looking forward to connecting." If you guys definitely exchange. I don't know how to. However, we can be of assistance to relay information. Let us know. Oh, there you go.
There's an email.
Perfect. Got her email address. That's all I need.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Brother Von Chapman says, "Drowning in a sea of tears, 90 feet away from safety, can't swim, and the system throws you 10 feet out of hope. They can't swim. Amazing." Muhammad said, "Let us deal wisely with them. Let's join together and come against them instead of staying divided among artificial barriers."
Hey,
great idea.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Love that. Well, thank you very much. It is 8:10 right now. If you guys are just joining us, we're talking to Princess Leia Cates from the Reader, and she just is informing us about a series of articles that she's writing right now about how people get assistance here in Nebraska, and would love to talk to you if you have any stories on whether or not you reached out for some assistance and got turned down specifically.
Yeah.
90% of the people that do this get turned down. So very well could be one of you, one of us. And if you have anybody that you know that would love to speak on this, it would be great. It would very much enhance the article so that everybody can kind of understand what's going on. So thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Really enjoy having you. Good luck on your picking a grad school. San Diego. And
I appreciate that, and always appreciate all of the wonderful work you guys do. And I put out the newsletter every morning for the Reader, and I'm always sure to check you guys out. I often link your show, and I'll also just look at the topics you're talking about and look for stories on those, because you really get it. You really stay on top of things. I'm always really amazed by that. So
thank you. That's the chat chimers. That's not us. That's the chat chimers. They let us know what they want to talk about.
That's right. And we feel the same way about you. So thank you very, very, very much for that. Brianna Full in the house says, "Good morning. Thanks for the work you do, Leia." So that's very cool. Love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. You can catch her work on the Reader. The latest issue of the Reader is out now, if I'm not mistaken. You can also catch your work on thereader.com. As always, Leia, thank you for taking the time out your schedule.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay.
There you go.
All
there
right.
you go.
She's always a great guest.
Oh yeah. Leia's a class act, as always. We always appreciate having her on, and really does good work, man. Not just the article in which she interviewed Miss Erica Felt, but several other articles where she's kind of breaking down the experiences of our working class people, man. People just trying to make a buck, trying to feed the fam, just trying to make it work. So again, big shout out to Leia and our partners over at the Reader.
Yep. We'll take a quick break. Once again, it is 8:13. If you believe in the concept of time, you've been listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul
in the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. No Star Trek Rich today. We're live from the void, and I can't believe my camera has stayed on this time. It's probably going to go off right now. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for sticking with us through these technical difficulties. Brooks says Paul Robeson went to Rutgers, and so did Avery Brooks. Plus, he is a professor there. That's all fine and good. My ex-girlfriend goes to Rutgers too, and it ain't cool. So
plus it's cold in Jersey.
And plus it's cold in Jersey, and it's Jersey. And even though they had a couple of good things happen, there's a whole lot of mess. But that's just my bias on that one. And anyway, how you gonna pass up a full ride to San Diego? Come on, man.
I've been to San Diego. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Wanda Lewis says, when I look up at Buddy's headset, I go into thinking that my internet is buffering.
No, I think it might be my end. I don't know. I'm not. Is there something? What's going on with my headset?
What are you talking about? The symbol there on the side? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she's talking about. We'll take a quick break. Stay right there. It is 8:15 already. Only have about 45 more minutes left in the show. In about 15 minutes, we'll have Matt Wynn from Flatwater Free Press come to talk to us about what they are working on as well. I believe some prison stuff as well. So
yes,
we're on that today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. This is First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Maybe I should do it like that. Let's put our names first, and then you can sing our way out. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Boom, just like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Stay tuned. In the morning, yeah. Live from the void. I'm surprised my mic is still on. I mean, my camera's still on. Check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. We're working it out. Pop says that works better. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, first Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I like it.
Just leave it like that, huh?
Yeah, because then you come back in. It's it's March the 7th, blah blah blah.
Yeah, come back and do the thing. As Brick says, working it out. Yeah, y'all. This is a live experience.
Hey man,
I figured out what Wanda Lewis was talking about though.
That's the shiny metal.
Like this, like a buffering circle. I can see that. And my head's kind of in the middle of the screen.
It's right in the middle of the screen. Yeah, I like it. Why is there snow right now? Because we're headed to Vegas. That's what's going on.
Omaha knew, like, oh, you gonna get out of here? You think
getting out?
You think you can get away from me?
Yeah, I'll be in Vegas on Wednesday. We're gonna try this again, so you might have to bear with us on some technical difficulties there because we'll be in another remote place going for it. But it's going down. We're gonna try to get it happening. Rome's review says made it to Manning. It's 81 miles northeast of the O. You better man than me. I ain't driving in this mess. No 80 miles nowhere around here.
Man. Definitely to Manning, Iowa. What's out there? Drive safely.
How many times you slip and slide on that road? I hope you didn't.
Right. Please be careful, y'all. Please be careful.
Appreciate you listening while you was rolling, though, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. Nice to give you some information, some edutainment while you're out there on the road.
Hey, a friend of mine blew my mind the other day. She was from Chicago and she drove down here to hang out with some friends, and scheduled her Zoom meeting for the drive. Put Zoom on, put a microphone on the car, and drove the however many miles it. I mean, it was like a 2-hour meeting, but within the Chicago drive of 6 or 7 hours. But I was like, man, I should have thought of that. You can knock out a whole Zoom meeting just by putting yourself on audio and rolling. Yeah. If you got it hooked up in your car like that. Next car I get is going to have all the tech.
You got to be careful. I mean, yeah, there's definitely the car, apps and things that can get you right and get you connected while you're rolling. I mean, but even now, they got more and more cars coming out with the auto drive feature. Pretty soon you're going to be able to just have the whole office in the back seat and, not worry about it. Although I'm not very trustworthy of that. It's a possibility. That's all I'm saying.
I'm doing it. I'll test it out first.
I don't know about the self-driving cars, man. I'm a little skeptical.
I'll be like, car, drive me to go visit Leia in San Diego and bring my blanket and
just be chilling in the back seat. Nah, I can't trust it.
Pop says, since we're talking about equipment, love your new mics. The Shure is what Michael Jackson recorded with, and that says a lot. You guys are doing it. That's what I'm saying. See, I'm trying to tell you. If Quincy Jones grabs the SM7, it's going down.
Tells you all you need to know.
We got a good morning from Kimra Snipes. What's happening? Rome says, I work on the railroads. No skidding, drove slow. I heard that. Okay.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's right. Drive slow, man. Ms. Hirkenfeld, a child care provider, got kicked out of a mandatory training because she was in the passenger seat of a car. Shake my head. They said she couldn't pay proper attention.
What?
That's why my own boss. That's why I'm on my own boss. Kimber Snipes says,
Yeah,
I was on
man.
the wrong show, but I'm traveling back from Texas, where apparently the only campaign slogans you need for governor are deport illegals and and a real Republican.
Oh
Sickening.
yeah. Texas is a different world, man. Texas is a different world.
Hey, I don't know if you guys saw the announcement, but brother Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado took a job in Texas. He's gonna be he's
No.
moving to Fort Worth, man. They made it. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and
What?
he's relocating to the big state.
Man, that's huge. Everything is definitely bigger in Texas, and yeah, we're gonna definitely miss brother JBA, man.
Yeah,
I did
man.
not catch that announcement, but congrats to him. Congrats and best wishes, on the next frontier.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. Cirkenfeld says we are business owners, our own boss, but we have to adhere to state licensing, who is determined to turn us into contractors. I wonder why. That's interesting. Yeah, you guys got a tough situation. I'm telling you, man. I don't envy the business that you're in, but I very much appreciate it. What would people do if they weren't getting their babies taken care of around here?
Man, could we work? I will say that Miss Erica felt some of the perspectives and the jewels that you have dropped. Oh, there goes Paul's camera. Some of the jewels and gems that you have dropped in the chat have definitely changed my perspective on exactly what it is and what it means to be a daycare provider. I mean, I have my perspective. Shout out to Miss Gwen. Shout out to all my daycare providers. I definitely understand the impact that they had on my life personally and my upbringing, kind of, moms away from mom. But really getting the full perspective of what it means to be a daycare provider and what a child care provider really provides, not just to the family, but to the community. She says we're truly educators. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So a big shout out to all the daycare providers out there, and definitely big shout out to you, Miss Erica Felt, for ringing that bell and speaking out.
Yeah, really appreciate you.
That's definitely. Miss Snipes in the chat says everything is bigger. Check out the bag, or excuse me. She says check out the room I found in my hotel on my page down in Houston. That mofo looked at like I needed to leave that room. Oh, I think she said bug she found. Yeah, yeah.
I saw. I was in North Carolina one time. Saw a big old flying roach looking thing.
Yeah, they got palmetto bugs down here in Georgia, but they don't fly.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes, that's scary.
Not with it.
But definitely, please drive safely if you're still on the road, Miss Snipes.
For those of you that just joined us, thank you very much for tuning in. There is some technical difficulties that we got going on here because we are live from the void. We were slipping and sliding, getting out of my space today, so I could not get down to Weberized, and that left us with trying to do this from the void. So that's why we're doing it. My camera will not be off the whole time. We're working on it getting back on for the rest of the show. It stayed on longer than I thought it was, so we're good. But thank you very much for joining us and dealing with our technical difficulties, and really appreciate that. So before we got our next guest that's going to come in here, Buddy, was there some things you wanted to knock out of the way real quick before we jump into our next guest?
Yeah. Actually, one of the last articles that we have set before our guest comes on and joins us is this article from the Omaha World Herald, actually just giving out a list of the candidates who are running for office in Nebraska's May 10th primary. Again, that's something that we've been paying close attention to, sort of the culmination, the result of last season. Again, the theme of season 2 here on First Sky Omaha was the ballot or the bullet. So we definitely wanted to continue that momentum, continue that really conversation that we're having about how can we affect change and really reminding ourselves that, voting is an effective way to get some change, is an effective way to get some people, in places of power to make some decisions that actually benefit the people and make sense, i.e., the likes of Brother Terrell McKinney. Shout out to him, who definitely were in support of getting into his position, and now we see the good work that he's doing, and we hope to replicate that. So again, pay attention to the races that are happening, not just in your local area, but across the state, across the country, and across the board, and try to have your voice heard and do your part in getting the powers that be in that support the people. So there are several races to keep up with, which is why we wanted to go over this list. And we've already interviewed several candidates. But some of the important races, of course, is the gubernatorial race, that race for Nebraska's governor. And we have several candidates who have already put their hats in the race, if you will. Of course, Carol Blood, Illin Pillin, as we like to call him, Herbster, just to name a few of the candidates. And also it is important to remember that Ricketts will not be running for re-election, as he will be term limited. So we will have a new governor. That is one of the highest races to look out for. Actually, Carol Blood and Rory Harris, the only two Democrats to run for governor. And there is a libertarian candidate for governor too, a name I haven't heard, Scott Zimmerman. But as a Fool for OPS says, hashtag new blood. And actually Brianna Fool is another one of those candidates running for school board, District 2. Actually, the likes of Brianna Fool and also Brother Melvin Muhammad are both running for that same seat. So definitely look out for that, especially with all the conversations we've had surrounding education systems and some of the curriculum, some of the policies being put forth in our education system. A lot of that is hanging in the balance right now, dealing with not just the school boards, but also the local school boards, but also the state school board. There's a lot of people vying for those positions as well.
That's what's up. Yeah. Lots going on. For definitely look at that list, and also look at the fact that we're coming up on this time where we got to get registered, voted, and so on and so forth. Gail Jefferson says yes, District 2. That's what it is.
Oh, I came across Miss Snipes. I did not know you're running for a Metro Community College Board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But again, District 4, Miss Snipes' name is on this list of Metropolitan Community College Board, which is huge, man. There are a lot of services and resources that Metro provides that the community could use, and there's people in the community who aren't really getting to those resources. So if we can have some board members, that would be helpful.
Yeah, most definitely. That'll work. Right on. We are having some technical difficulties this morning. We are live from the void. My camera's off. Buddy's stuck. But we do we do have a one of our partners in the wings here that we're going to bring in. It is coming up on that 8:30 hour. If you believe in the concept of time, we got my man Matt Wynn from Flatwater Free Press.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. The void, how's that treating you?
It's one of those days, man. Severe case of the Mondays.
Severe case. Yeah. So we're working around it best we can, man. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Oh, you guys sound great. I love the void. Seems like you're cheerful there. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man. Feeling that. You're looking pretty good this morning, man. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't have to leave the house. I'm great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why we had to do it from the void. I was stuck in spinning in place in my parking space over here.
I was just getting ready. I gotta say, I was gonna come to the office because I wanted to see you guys, and I was psyching myself up to go shovel, and then you said just do this from your house. And
yeah, man.
Sweet music to your ears, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I'm still glad you're able to join us. Definitely looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah,
and as always, glad to see you. But yeah, definitely glad likewise. That both you and Paul are safe at home, because it's kind of treacherous out there on these Omaha streets, man. So
bad news.
Yeah, bad news indeed. So smart decision to stay at home. And again, thank you for joining us this morning. So what's new? Again, I know we were talking last, I think 2 weeks now, about some of the things going on, and kind of more so the overall journey and goal of Flatwater Free Press.
Yeah.
But what are any new stories on the horizon? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, the
across
one that I was hoping to talk about today is we've got this partnership with the World Herald. One of the issues when we started, we've talked about this, right? We've got this investigative and then this feature story sort of mission. And the investigative is where my heart is. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to focus on. We've got 2 reporters throw at it, and I just wanted to put them on things that need sustained attention. Big, hairy problems that people need time to dig into and figure out what's going on. And one of those is prisons, right?
Man.
Nebraska's prison system is a disaster. I don't think I'm being biased in saying that. I don't think anybody looks at this and says, yeah, that's a good system, let's keep it up. It's been bad for as long as I've been paying attention, and it's not getting any better. Henry Cordes, who is an incredible reporter at the World Herald, as part of this partnership yesterday, covering prison issues, he had a really good story looking at incarceration rates by something called census tract. So a census tract is a place with like 4,000 people, 8,000, something in there, a couple thousand people. But what he found, he was digging into some stuff that Harvard put together, looking at all the census tracts in the entire United States, and little old Omaha, North Omaha specifically, has 4 tracts, specifically around 30th and Ames, where 1 out of 5 men are in prison. Were put in prison on a certain day, when they were my age. This is at 2010 census. But that's crazy. 1 out of 5 men in that area put in prison, which is just part of, is that surprising to anybody? We all see this happening.
Quite honestly, one, we talked about this article earlier in the show, so I'm glad. I didn't know that Flatwater Free Press was sort of behind this, or this was a part of your partnership. So that definitely makes sense now looking at this article, and definitely glad that this journalist worked on it, because it's pretty extensive as far as how deep they go into this situation. But that is not stated in this article as far as the 1 in 5 statistic. That's pretty it's not surprising. It's jarring, but it's not surprising, because having grown up in that census tract, I can say, thinking back to that kind of adds up. If I think about all the people that I know and all the just people I've came across in the community, about 1 out of 5 has been incarcerated or is incarcerated for one reason or another.
And we're talking about in all of Nebraska, right? 1 in 5 men in Nebraska.
No, it's just North Omaha, just that census tract in North Omaha, that one area.
Yeah,
I mean, and you look some of the other numbers they've got in there. It's just it's crazy. 1 out of 5 in North Omaha, but then we've got all the census tracts for the state. To Paul's point, so we know that as you move further west, that number goes from 20%, right, 1 out of 5, down to 1%. It's astonishing the disproportionality of this thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, because when you asked the question, was that a surprise? No. 1 out of 5 in North Omaha doesn't sound like a surprise, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
As a matter of fact, in the chat, let's see. Gail Jefferson says, nope, not surprising, but definitely disturbing. That's what I'm feeling like about it, for sure. We got Paul Philman in the house too. He's in the chat. We've been talking about getting you on forever on this subject here. So he says, first of all, good World Herald coverage of prisons and birth to prison pipeline. That's fortunate that we're getting that. I know when we started doing what we were doing over at Mind and Soul first, it was because we felt like we weren't getting the representation out of the World Herald and other places representing this stuff. So we have seen a shift, and I'm thinking it has to do with all of our the pressure of the alternative press out here in Omaha that has been changing some things. But we'll go ahead and give it to them. Definitely, World Herald coverage is gotten way better on that. Also, Paul Philman says racism was not mentioned by name in articles. Omaha racism history is an elephant in the living room, for real.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's always kind of left out of the thing there too.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, reading this story, it's really long. That's a fact, and it's long for reason. But one of the things that they point at, it's one thing to know these numbers exist and just to write about what these numbers say and all that sort of stuff. It's another thing to try talking about why they exist. Mm-hmm. And the kind of the thing that they got to at the article was that our childhood poverty rates are some of the worst in the entire country. I think we're the 15th most out of whack. The rate of Black kids in poverty is some extraordinary number higher than white kids. That disproportionality, again, is some of the worst in the entire country, which is, again, surprising. I don't know, but stark.
Yeah. Precious McKesson in the house. How you doing? Precious says, are there some links to read this? Do you have some, do we put some links in the chat here on those articles?
I can't get on the chat right now, but Flatwater Free Press, it's our main story right now. You can go read it there.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll drop a link.
We'll definitely do that. Appreciate that. Paul Philman says LB 1024 is reparations. And like Von Chapman says, the real question is why. That's what you were saying. They're not getting to the why here. Pops in the chat says it has been very much this way for decades. My father moved our family from North Omaha in 1963, quoting this fact as one of the major reasons for leaving. So, that prison that preschool to prison pipeline has been going on for a long, long time. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to the article in the chat there. That's the Omaha. What is this one? Oh, that's omaha.com. So let's get the Flatwater Free Press article in the chat as well.
It's all the same as long as it gets read,
As long as you read, I hear you. Mr. Egerfeld is saying, did your article touch on any of the reasons? Clearly, with 1%, there are people who don't know anyone who has been arrested, so the reasons need to be named.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it there. There's certainly racism, racist systems, all that sort of stuff. That
racism, poverty, and those things weren't really mentioned in the article. Is that correct?
Poverty was definitely there.
Yeah, it's all in this article. It's a pretty lengthy article as far as breaking down some of the. Again, this is the article that we were reading from earlier. This is the same article they were talking about earlier before we started talking to Leia.
Right.
So yeah, it's a pretty lengthy article, and it definitely breaks down, kind of why some of those disparities exist and what they are. But I guess my kind of question to you, Matt, because we live this experience, we live this, so I'm kind of curious that how do you see this article or this type of information changing the conversation, or who do you see this impacting more?
I mean, I think anytime you're doing this sort of journalism, the hope is that it by illustrating how stark things are, how bad things are, you give motivation, you convince people who maybe aren't already convinced, right? With a lot of stuff that I read, a lot of people I talk to, I'm talking to people who we understand the same things, we agree each other, that sort of thing. I think journalism, well done, and Henry did a good job with this piece. Mm-hmm. The power of it is you can convince people who aren't already convinced. And that includes lawmakers. I mean, one of the things that's in the story is they tie it to this, and I forget the name of the bill, forgive me, the number of the bill, putting some stimulus money, some recovery money, into North Omaha.
LB 1024.
Yeah. So, that correlation has already been drawn out, spelled out pretty specifically here. I don't think the goal is always to pass a law or anything. I mean, it's not. It's not. It's to say, here's a story. This is a story. This is extraordinary. This is not fair. This is not right. And here is how not fair and how not right it is. And put that information in the hands of people who can do with it what they choose. That's where journalism ends to me. Someone else needs to take that ball and get where it needs to go. But that's the point. If we're just talking to people who we already agree with, what are we even doing?
I actually have a theory on that. I think the first thing that we're doing is getting our heads together, getting the story straight. I always felt a little funny when they talked about getting together with people who believe the same things that you do in the echo chambers and so on and so forth. But I think there's power in that. Yeah. I think we proved that here at First Sky Omaha when we have so many people that are of like mind that we are figuring out how to we give each other the language to use when we're in the arguments. We give each other information and more details, more backing Some people do different research. There's all kinds of things that happen that makes it so that we can have a better understanding about what we believe. And then the natural progression after that is really kind of take some kind of action on that. So, the great thing about this is, if it's an article that you've written that resonates and is something that we get into the weeds on and discuss, and then we can see there's some solutions or some people we need to talk to, or some politicians we need to hit up, or whatever. We'll do that because of the compelling nature of the article, and the solutions kind of slant to it as well. Like, what can we do to fix some of this stuff? Is kind of what happens when you get into a room full of people who do believe the same thing. If we're not all on the same page, we won't find those solutions for it and take some action on it. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that it starts with the articles. We always encourage everybody to go to Flatwater Free Press, read the articles, stay up on the reader, because those are where the deep dives are, so that we are pulling from in order to talk about these things, in order to get to some action. And so that's how this connection works. Just want to let you know, I just got a text right now, like, where are you at? Just want to let you know what's going on. It's 8:41 right now in Omaha, Nebraska. And you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich is not in the house today. And we're speaking with Matt Wynn over at Flatwater Free Press. And we're on the subject of prisons, the prison situation here, which we've been talking about a little bit today with some different people. So this is a very deep article that you might want to check out. We put it in the chat. It's over at the Omaha World Herald, or you can go to flatwaterfreepress.org and check it out as well. Is it .org? It's .org, yeah?
.org.
And those of you that are watching right now on the Facebook channel, yes, my camera's down, recording live from the void. That's why you don't see me. This is Paul B, aka EOS Webcam Utility. That's my name today. So, but we are here and are talking a lot about this. We got a lot of great people in the chat. Gail Jefferson says, I raised my children in North Omaha and seen for myself how our especially black males was always targeted as falsely accused of being in gangs or something, even if they wasn't, to the point that my grandsons was given a card to carry around. What? A card to carry around with their rights and mentors. Their rights and mentors, because the police officers would pull up, ask what gang they were from. They were from when they just were walking home. I can go on and on. Years of frustration. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've told a story of a friend of mine in the 7th grade. And one of the earliest memories I had in the 7th grade, a friend of mine came to school one day with a broken arm, and he told us he was walking home, was stopped by the police. He was told that he was a suspect in something. Again, this is a 7th grader, walking home from school, stopped by the police. Was told that he was a suspect in a case, and he was slammed and had his arm broken. Yeah, of course, it was the wrong identity. Of course, he was the wrong person. It was, a false, mistaken identity. But those are the types of situations and lived experiences that shape, your perspective of the world, and which is why when you say 1 in 5, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. What if they couldn't prove that he wasn't the one, that they were looking for?
1 in 5, by the way, I'm as you guys know, I'm a data dork. I can get real boring about this stuff real quick, but I'll try not to. 1 out of 5 is how many people. They looked at 5 years people, and it's people my age, right? It's from 1978. If you're born 1978 to 1983, that's the cohort they're looking at. And how many of those people from these neighborhoods were in prison on a specific day in 2010? So if you were in prison in 2005, you're not on this list. You were in prison in 2015. The real number has got to be way, way, way higher.
Yeah, I mean, and you're saying it's that higher. I'm sure a younger age group would definitely have a higher number, even within that same.
Yeah, I mean, this is the data is from 2010, right? So they were older 20s, younger 30s, that area. Yeah, you're right. If they were 20. If we could somehow measure that, I'm sure it would be even higher. No matter how you slice it, I think what's shocking is this 20% number is probably a pretty conservative figure. It's probably higher. I don't know how much higher, but I feel pretty confident saying if you looked at how many people had spent any time in prison, it would be higher.
That's incredible.
Precious says that's my age group, and many of my friends are a part of this number. So again, it's kind of interesting how this whole conversation comes together, and we have different people adding different elements to the conversation. You, Matt, being the data guy, and now Precious, adding real life, stories and adding faces to those numbers. To really give us the full picture is definitely interesting, and as a lot of people have expressed, glad that Flatwater Free Press and those who are smart enough to at the World Herald to partner with you were able to come up with this article and release this. And also to add to it, I definitely agree, and some people in the chat agree as far as the role of journalists and investigative journalists and what you do as far as bringing the information in. As Paul mentioned, what we do as far as taking that information and having the conversation and taking it a step forward further. So definitely big shout out to those of you in the chat. A few people who have shared this. And Ms. Wanda Lewis says, I just posted it to my page. Also, brother Paul Philman says, I sent the link to World Herald article to all state senators. So again, pushing it forward, pushing the conversation forward, and the information that journalists like you, Matt, and the journalists that work for Flatwater Free Press, the information that they're bringing forward.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure. Really thank you for coming on today. Really appreciate that.
Great seeing you guys. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Paul.
I was just gonna say. Also, Paul Philman just put the link to the movie Out of Omaha in the chat, which is our homie. A couple of our homies are in that one, and that one is all about a lot of stuff that we are talking about here. About how it's real hard if you are growing up in Omaha to avoid going to jail at some point, even if it's some things that you didn't do. It was not your fault.
That part.
So yeah, it's real tough. So yeah, just want to thank Paul Philman for doing that, and I also want to thank Matt Wynn for coming on. Man, really appreciate you. You guys are killing it over there at Flatwater.
Thanks, and likewise, yes. you guys are what it's about.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And teamwork makes the dream work, man. We're all definitely coming together to hopefully cause some change in the community, man. So we appreciate you as always.
All right. Take care, guys.
Have a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got our man Matt Wynn in the house. Really appreciate everybody that came into the chat here to talk about this too, man. Got some very good comments from Precious and Kimra Snipes. When we passed up her, when she was talking about getting off the gang list, it's ridiculous. People in their 50s still labeled as gang members, so much to it. It's really, really crazy. Vaughn Chapman says there was an article written in 2010 and 2014 that said Omaha was the most dangerous place per capita to be black. Just wow.
And actually that was around the time when I was in trouble and I was kind of led astray, if you would. And I remember in 2011, specifically 2012, right when I was leaving and going to college, Omaha was recognized, I believe, by the FBI as the most there was the highest murder rate per capita. It was surpassing Chicago, LA. There's actually some talk in the streets of some people actually trying to compete with Chicago to raise that number. So as far as just experiences in North Omaha and just how bad it can really get, it's up there with just about anywhere in the country. And a large part of that is again that sense of hopelessness and the lack of opportunity that a lot of people in the community see.
I remember after those articles came out, Nebraska got very, very embarrassed, and they started putting a bunch of programs in place and doing a bunch of stuff. It was a very embarrassing thing for them, and a lot of the stuff that came after 2015 or so was a response to that. They were trying. They were making some big moves. I think it was really messed up. Brooke in the chat says, "I was bad out here when I was a teen. I know so many people that have gotten murdered here or have murdered." Yeah, messed up. Wanda Lewis says they had my daughter and her friends on the ground and patting them down when she was 12. She was outside her grandma's house playing a basketball game of 21. They didn't do anything wrong. She waited weeks to tell me because she thought that she would be in trouble. She wrote a song about the incident. PTSD comes around when you're young. She wrote a song about that too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's messed up, bro.
I mean, I remember being 7 or 8, and just playing outside of a school. And I guess somebody in the neighborhood saw us throwing rocks outside of the school and thought that we were trying to break a window or something, and called the cops. And next thing we know, we're in the back of a squad car, being taken back to my grandma's house. And again, we're just playing outside, being kids. Those types of experiences definitely shape how you perceive things.
There it is. Paul Philman put some links in the chat there. He says Omaha number 7 worst for Black community health in the country. Iowa number 4 for worst. If you want to read up on some of those statistics there, definitely check that out. Vaughn Chapman says, my question is, what effect did all the gang prevention programs have on the problem to date? That is a very good question. We really, I lean towards not much.
No.
And
but that's there's some insight behind that. There's some brothers in the community who have started some gang prevention opportunities, and let them tell it. Those opportunities and those organizations have sort of been co-opted by some politicians who just kind of use that organization as a chance to get elected. And then once they got elected, some of the promises that were made weren't fulfilled, type of situation. So, these are definitely stories that I've heard from many people in the community about those types of situations going down, as far as gang prevention programs coming up, proving that they can cause some change, and then politicians coming out of the woodwork, attaching their name to those efforts, and then it dies down. So there are some people, definitely shout out to the members of the BAA, the Black Agenda Alliance. There's an article, or not article, a video that they just released talking about how gang members are created, and some of the mentality, some of the things that lead the youth to join gangs, and how to sort of combat some of that stuff and get ahead of it. So definitely shout out to Brother Kasim. We have to get him and some of the other brothers and sisters involved with the Black Agenda Alliance through here to talk about some of those things.
Very much so. Terry Crawford in the chat says Cali has a process to challenge your name on a gang list through an administrative tribunal, and allows you to face your accusers. We have a blueprint to follow. I've had this discussion locally with much resistance.
Okay.
There's some solution stuff going on there.
Man, those gang files, that's a real thing. Like, as I mentioned, your name get wrapped up in a gang file. It's kind of a death sentence, really. In the community.
That's what Kimmer Snipes was saying. That it's hard to get your name off of them things, and you can be 50 years old still on the gang list somewhere. Preston Love having community town halls for Chief Schmatter and Wayne Hudson, Paul Philman said. The town halls. I'm not sure if anybody went to those town halls and if there's going to be any more, but I think that Preston is on a mission here with that. So we'll definitely be taking a look at that. We're coming up on 8:53 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break and come back, and we'll get into some haps and things on this Monday, the 7th, 2022, First Sky Omaha Radio. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Hey, stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Yo. What's happening? We're back. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich is not here today.
Yep. One of those days.
It is one of those Mondays. For the most part, I'm back for a second here. Because we've been having them technical difficulties going on.
Yeah. And being that we're not in Weatherized today or live from the void, no tricky words of wisdom. I'm guessing.
No.
I'm glad that we reached this point, though. I'm glad that we were at least able to do some semblance of the show today.
Yeah. No, we got through it. Precious in the house says, look, I know for a fact my sister had my mom's initials SF as her first tattoo, and the police accused her of being a part of SF.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just more things on this subject here about how kids get treated as far as this thing is concerned. It's like they're priming them to be in the gang in a minute, or even if they're not, or priming them to go to prison, whether they are or not. Messed up. Brother Muhammad says Nation of Islam has the best track record in dealing with the so-called gang issues. The nation has helped black folks for a long time, providing a certain kind of solution for sure.
Actually, to my understanding, there's actually an article or a documentary out called "Bastards of the Party," of the Party, which talks about how a lot of the Black Panther Party members and a lot of the Nation of Islam and a lot of the members of those community-based organizations, once the leaders were murdered and imprisoned, a lot of them wound up in gangs, and that's kind of what sparked the whole gang movement. Is the dismantling of those more positive organizations.
Interesting. And of course, if anybody knows anything about gang culture and how and the things that they began in LA, it did begin in a way that they were protecting their neighborhoods from a lot of things, especially some of the drugs that came in from government agencies into the neighborhoods. That's what the gangs were fighting at first, and then they kind of turned to selling some to actually being purveyors of that, some of them. But yeah, it's really interesting to read to figure out the history of all these things and where it led and how they used it to basically have a war on black folks.
Yeah,
and continue slavery, which is what jail sentence is.
Yep,
and so on and so forth. Lots going on there. I want to say, Precious in the chat says this Wednesday at 6 p.m. tune into the Nona Facebook page. We will be hosting a conversation Metro Next to talk about the funding to revamp transportation. Okay. That's one of the haps. I'm going to throw the haps on real quick and get a shoulder move a little bit. What's happening? What's going down? That's right. Miss Eric, Precious McKesson kicked us off with the haps. Check them out Wednesday on the Facebook page. Conversation with Metro Next about transportation. That's pretty interesting. Interesting stuff there. Any more haps going on that you got on that you're thinking about a little bit? Paul Feminine says Preston Love Jr. Has law enforcement town hall scheduled. I can't find the date. We have that on Friends of First Sky Omaha somewhere as well. So go to Friends of First Sky Omaha page, and we posted Preston Love's town hall that he's got coming up.
Yeah. Of course, we have the Ernest Jackson walk. That's on the 26th. That's coming up, so look out for that.
We definitely will be there. Yeah,
man. Ernest Jackson Freedom Walk going down March 26th.
That's what's up. Appreciate that. Leia Keister says, as always, you guys bring it. So grateful for your voices and for bringing the necessary morning giggles. I'm glad we can be entertaining.
Yeah, that edutainment. There is a call to action before we get out of here. We definitely can't forget about this Camisha Hollis situation. There's a call to action coming from the family. Her sister Caprice says, please, friends, help her and her family. We need your help. Omaha. This says, everyone, I need your attention, please. If my sister means anything to you, or even if you are against domestic violence and child abuse, please write a letter to Judge Honorary Horatio Wheelock, sharing why a manslaughter charge is not enough as well as the unfairness in how he was able to make a plea deal without disclosing where my sister is. I know he cannot be forced to speak, but certainly something can be done, I hope. We are also hoping for the maximum sentence. As of now, I need letters written. Please don't write them because I'm asking, but please do so if you believe in Camisha's justice. I refuse to stop this fight at this rate. Here are the facts, which could change, but this is what I know. His current charges are only totaling 31 years. He could serve half due to Nebraska's good time law and then already have 4 years down. Eventually, he may be able to walk away while my sister, my niece's mother, and my mom's daughter is tossed away. We need more justice. We need this judge to overturn this plea, a deal, or at least see our side of things and really decide if these current charges are fit. Please, if my sister meant anything to you at all, please, please, please help us. Her email is chollis1228@gmail.com. Again, that's chollis1228@gmail.com. We're going to be posting this in the chat. If you feel it in your heart to write a letter to assist in this fight for justice, please do so.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
We're going to go ahead and leave it at that. It's 9 o'clock. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, as always, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We thank y'all for taking this journey with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and joining the conversation, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard, and really being you. Because as I'm learning more and more about all of our chat chimers, we really do have a very unique and engaged audience, and I really appreciate that about all of y'all. Whether it's something that we're talking about or something that's near and dear to your heart, either stand for something or fall for anything. And it looks like y'all are definitely ready to stand for what you believe in. So I appreciate that. And let's continue to be great, y'all. Let's continue to make change, continue to move forward. Until next time, Paul B. Take it away.
Zane says, good morning. Good morning, my dude. How you
The
doing?
dude.
See you soon. Also, Brooke says, good show. Miss Erica Fell says, greatly appreciate the love this morning. It was a great show with facts and food for thought. May everyone have a marvelous Monday. Drink water, keep your space, and be good to yourselves, everyone. Appreciate that very much. Pop says, I blinked and the show is already over. Man, it travels at the speed of light. That's what we do in space, Pops.
Yeah, man. That's the only way to get around.
Thanks for the great show, Paul. See you soon. Right on. Also, Preston says, Judge Horatio Wilcox, 1701 Farnham Street, 5th floor, room 501, Omaha, Nebraska, 68183.
There you go. Please write him.
There's the judge. Write him up. Thank you very much. Sorry that we're running a little bit late here, and thank you for bearing with us through the technical difficulties of broadcasting live from the Void today. We'll be broadcasting from the Void all week, as a matter of fact, because I'll be out of town. So stay tuned for a adventurous Wednesday show. And tell a friend is going down. Thanks for bearing with us. Want to give a shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to Buddi's family for allowing the new studio and the new pad to be the spot for that, man. That's what's happening. And I want to give a shout out to my neighbors. If anybody in the Benson Lights is listening right now, all this mess. And thanks for being quiet enough for me to do it around here if you guys are hearing me. And thanks to all of you, the chat chimers who are constantly bringing the information and coming with it. So we really appreciate everybody that's doing that. Please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Also, if you've not become a member of the station or a member of the channel, then please consider doing so. Go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button. That's how we keep this thing rolling. And we appreciate everybody who are reoccurring members at the $10, $25, and $50 range as well. So thank you so much for everybody that's done that. And once again, if you have not, if you're inclined to do so, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, finding value in it, please consider doing so. Also, give us a like and a share and a subscribe over at the YouTube channel, which we're trying to do a lot more work around there too, since you guys have expressed little Facebook frustrations here and there. So trying to open it up for different places to have this conversation. And so please help us do that. So anyway, that's all for now. Appreciate you. Judy Princess says, love you all. Love you too. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will see you Wednesday if the Void lets us. So you guys have a great one. And be cool out there and watch out. The roads are still very, very treacherous out here in Omaha, Nebraska, as far as the slipping in the slidey is concerned. So drive safe. And you guys have a good one. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the Red